Hello. Hi, everybody. Hello. Some of you obviously have heard me talk before, so obviously I'm going to repeat myself a little bit. But some things are worth repeating because, you know, there's a reason why certain things work. And so it's worth kind of saying it over and over again because I'm a big believer in, even if you've heard me talk before, you'll have remembered one bit and then you'll hear me talk again and you'll think, oh God, I don't remember her saying that. So in terms of what's the magic, the magic actually comes down to being yourself. And I'll kind of rewind a little bit with this. The magic sort of comes from, the Oscar Wilde quote, be yourself, everyone else is taken. And, the younger generation have sort of taken that and run with it, which is brilliant, which is great. But I do think that when you get to a certain point in our lives, and I'm kind of going from sort of 30 and above, we lose that courage, I think, to be ourselves because we've spent a lifetime of trying to kind of fit in, trying to, whether it's at school, whether it's at college, whether it's in marriage, whether it's being a mum at the school gates, whether it's in our career. And we've kind of found all these little hats that we have to wear and different masks that we need to wear. So then when we step out into the big, wide, scary world and we decide, I want to be an entrepreneur, we have no blooming idea what mask to wear, what hat to wear, because it's such a vulnerable feeling to put yourself out there, particularly when you're working on something that you feel really passionate about. And most of us, particularly women, but I know for men as well, most of us will have started our career, whether it's our side hustle as it begins, as we work alongside our so-called regular job. And can I put a little asterisk here? I bloody hate the term side hustle because it is not a side hustle. It is doing two full-time jobs at the same time. Only one of them is slightly twee and people say to you, how's your little side hustle going? It's not a side hustle. It's a passion project that you're working full-time alongside your regular job. So figuring out how to be yourself, be bold, be confident while you're completely stepping out of your comfort zone can be an absolute challenge. Then someone like Morella comes along and goes, and then you need to be famous and you need to put yourself out there and show the world while you're still thinking, I still don't really know what I'm doing. I know I'm good at this, but how do I get it out there? What I want to say to you is you have to get used to feeling comfortable with being uncomfortable. You never get used to it. You never, ever get used to it. I'm quite used to standing here and chatting in front of lots of people. But I'm now, dare I say it, at the point where I don't really care whether you like me or not. I hope you do. I hope you do. It's great, And clearly when I do speak, in front of corporates or I get employed to do jobs and host events and speak at big things, I really hope they like me because it all comes down to this one thing. We are all here for one reason. We want people to buy our shit. Nick and I say this all the time. What is it we're after? Buy my shit. And the mistake that many of us make is we kind of get too over enthusiastic. And again, Nick and I will laugh about this. We'll go to a networking event and we'll rush up to people and go, what do you do? And we pretty much leap in and ask them to marry you right away. We don't date. We don't schmooze. We don't kind of get to know whether we like each other or not. We leap in. And so much of that comes from fear. And because we feel like we need to kind of get it out there really quickly just in case they don't like me. So the first thing I want to get you to do is just to let go of this feeling of I hope everybody likes me, because not everybody will. Not everybody is going to like you. I've worked in broadcasting for over 20 years. 23 of those were on ITV. It was pretty much daily. So over the years I have had, oh my gosh, millions upon millions upon millions upon millions upon millions of people make a judgment of me. Some of them think I'm amazing. Some of them think I'm really great. I know I'm really good at interviewing people. I know I'm brilliant at drawing out, whether it's vulnerabilities, but also helping raise people up and make them feel seen and heard and that they are special. Because I do genuinely believe that everybody has something special about them. But I also have people who go, there's something about her I just really don't like. I can't put my finger on it, but I think she's a bit of a bitch. She's too nice. There's something just too nice about I don't trust it. I've heard it over and over and over again. So in my younger years, I would try and win them over. And actually that just made them pull away even more because you come across as desperate and slightly sad. Now I just think, It's kind of true. And now I just think that's a real shame that you think that. There's nothing really I can do about it other than carry on being myself, and hopefully one day you'll come to your senses and you'll realize that I'm awesome. But if you don't, then that's all okay. In terms of raising your profile in the media, these are all the things that you need to wrestle with. And when Morella was talking about the media training day, obviously what we do on that day is so much more than just me training you how to sit properly in a TV studio, how to handle a very challenging question that's come from an interviewer who maybe is deliberately misunderstanding what it is that you're there for, or they're deliberately mishearing what you've said so they can come back at you with a personal agenda that they have. That's really terrifying. The first few times that you have that happen to you, if you don't have the tools in your toolkit, and we do train you on that, it's really quite terrifying. The main thing that we help you with is this understanding of the fact that no one cares. No one cares as much as you do. This thing that you're working on is your baby. You love it. You have spent hours and hours and hours, if not years, perfecting your craft, honing the tone of your message. And then when you finally get to a point where you're sitting in a broadcasting studio, whether it's a podcast, whether it is on television, whether it's on radio, or even if you're being interviewed by a print journalist. And I'm talking right the way from regional, right the way up to national, or even international. It's exactly the same. They don't care about what you have to say. What they care about is, how does it resonate with my listeners or my viewers or my community? And that's one of the biggest mistakes that people make when they start to enter this kind of media circle, if you like, and putting your message out, is you think, how can I tell about this thing that means so much to me? You completely forget that it has to land in someone's ears. They have to feel it. And what we show you is how to build that bridge. Honestly, I get goosebumps thinking about it, because the most powerful tool you have is building that incredible link between what it is that you feel so passionate about and how can it help the person who is listening. What is the benefit to them? And I don't just mean the benefit to them as in they'll buy your shit. I don't just mean that. I mean, in some way, how are you going to improve their life? Even if it's just selling a pair of really beautiful shoes. We were talking about shoes earlier. Even if it is that, oh my gosh, the joy, the Cinderella moment of when you see this beautiful shoe and you put it on and it elevates you, so you're not just 5'6", you're 5'9". And how does it make you feel when you walk into a room and you're not the shortest person there? And then people say, I love your shoes. What does that say about you? That's what you're selling. You're not selling just a pair of shoes. You're selling a moment. You're selling an emotion. So it's finding that way to connect with the emotion of whatever it is that you are packaging and that you are offering, so that it emotionally connects with the person that you are speaking to. All the other stuff, the tips, the hacks, the how to sit, the how to answer a question, there are certain rules in play. One of them is the ABC rule, which I shouldn't really tell you about because it's one of the biggies that are in there, but I'll tell you about right now anyway. The ABC rule is what happens when an interviewer is talking to you and they try to take you down a path that you don't necessarily want to go. Give you an example. Whatever industry that you work in, maybe there's something really terrible has happened and it's in the news, and the journalist's focus is, I've got someone in from, whether it's fashion, I'm going to talk about fast fashion, whether it is, you're a builder, there's a building's fallen down in central London, I'm going to really nail them to a wall about this. So if you get asked a question that you don't feel comfortable answering, you are aware that it's going to take you down a road that could really land you in some pretty choppy waters, and is taking you further and further away from what it is that you're there to speak about, there is a rule. I learned this rule when working with a Home Office, and I did a job for the Home Office, and it was quite a delicate thing that I was asked to be a spokesperson for. So I was put through my own sort of media training with the government, and it was really fascinating to understand that this is what politicians are told, and suddenly it all made total sense when you see them on the news, and they're kind of being hammered. And the trick is, it's called the ABC rule. So the ABC rule is this. Actually, before I tell you it, I'm going to tell you the mistake that people make. It's the biggest mistake that people make, and that includes some politicians, is completely ignore the question and just pretend I haven't been asked that and I'm not listening to you and I'm just going to keep on talking, and the journalist gets really annoyed and they keep hammering, and that's when you hear, answer the question. I don't think I'm going to answer that question. Answer the question. I think I'd rather carry on talking more. And it just becomes really frustrating for everybody involved. So that's how not to do it, is to pretend that it hasn't happened. The ABC rule is acknowledge, bridge, continue. You acknowledge that the question has been answered. You acknowledge that you hear it. You absorb the message that the question that they are trying to ask you. You acknowledge that you have heard it. And then you build a bridge away from it. So by acknowledging, absolutely, that was a terrible thing that I heard, the building fell down in central London or whatever it is, and my thoughts go out to everybody involved. What I personally have found in my experiences, the industry that I work in, we make sure that and then you take them back on that journey and you continue talking about whatever it is that you were there to discuss in the first place. And you try and do it as quickly and as neatly as possible without really irritating the interviewer, without really annoying the viewers. They then feel they've just been taken on a journey, and then you're back talking about what it is that you are there to talk about. It's such a simple trick, but actually everybody knows it's a little dance. They put a foot here, you've gone, oh, I don't think I like that. You put a foot here, and then next thing you know, you're kind of off waltzing together. Because really, when you are engaging in business, it doesn't matter whether it is media, it doesn't matter whether it is engaging with clients or networking events, we're all just dancing. Really, that's all it is. And finding a way, and I'm not even a very good dancer, but finding a way that you can get into a rhythm with someone, finding a way that when they take a step forward, you can allow them into your space, then you take a step forward, and it's finding a way to get really, really comfortable with that. So before I finish, some of you have seen this before, especially if those of you who are in Manchester. And I decided on the spur of the moment to show you this thing when I was in Manchester. But actually it went down so well. And Tracy's nodding because you know what it's going to be. And don't tell anyone because you know what it's going to be. It actually went down so well because I thought it really illustrated a certain point. And the point is, we all wait until we feel comfortable in doing something before we take action. We all wait until we feel like we might win before we take action. It's something that Mirella spoke of earlier. And I want to tell you that actually you can't. You have to do it while you're scared. You have to do it while you're feeling deeply uncomfortable. You know there's a chance that it all could go horrendously wrong, but you're going to do it anyway.